Right, good morning ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. Now, over the last few days we've shared a few crazy stories, and when I think that it can't get any crazier, it does. So today we have a Vietnam War veteran from America, aged 74, now fighting a brand new battle in Pattaya, Thailand, with, you guessed it, a Thai lady.
Broken arrow! Broken arrow!
Now he seems to be needing a little help, so hopefully all of us can advise him. So let's not waste time today and jump straight in to what this veteran has going on in Pattaya. Hi Dan, I have to admit I am a little perplexed regarding my situation here in Pattaya. I know everyone says their relationship is unique or that their woman is different. Honestly, I would appreciate some feedback regarding my own experience. So a little about my background. I am 74 and from the good old USA. But I lived in South America for the past 22 years. That was until 4 months ago when I decided to make the move to Pattaya. Now, I am a Vietnam veteran and may have some residual baggage from my experiences there, as I was a combat photographer. Back then, I went to Bangkok twice on R&R. I don't remember much about these trips because I was usually under the influence of something to justify it with the question, what are they going to do? Draft me and send me to Vietnam?
There's something happening here.
Now I do remember some magical temples, and I have a foggy memory regarding the Temple of Truth, which means that I may have taken a trip back in 1969. Who knows? My memories of evenings back then are even less clear. Girls with numbers, guys asking, what number do you like? Hangovers, and much more. I absolutely loved it. So now let's get back to the present. About 8 months ago, I was seriously into the doldrums of life in Brazil. It had been a while since I had a steady girlfriend, and I spent my days watching the news from the USA, which alone is enough to make a person crazy. I also watched hundreds of videos about travel in Asia, and yes, I also watched many videos regarding relationships with women from Thailand, the Philippines and Vietnam, so I kind of knew the drill.
This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun.
On an especially lonely night, I even paid for a membership on Thai Cupid from a link that popped up on Brazil Cupid. I went in being kind of skeptical, but very curious. I had some Brazilian friends who had visited Thailand and really liked it. My first night on Cupid, I received so many messages, it took me by surprise. Now I think I had worn out my welcome on Brazil Cupid because I wasn't getting many responses to my profile. Now after 4 months in Thailand, I am leaning towards preferring Latin culture. Anyway, let's get back to the story. I started talking to a 56-year-old woman from Pattaya. Her photos were very charming. We started talking more and more and ended up video chatting for hours every night for about 3 months. She loved telling me stories about her life, and I could literally listen to her all night. I even loved watching her expressions and her struggling to tell me everything with a limited vocabulary in English. Now onto her personal story. It was that she was 100% Thai, somewhat prejudiced regarding Isan culture. One daughter who is 28, she had been married to a Thai man for a long time who was not the father of her daughter. She also told me that the father was a fling, a Thai fling. Her husband, according to her, was a good worker, but had a drinking problem that hinged on abusive and irresponsible. Now, at the time we were talking, she was working at a night market selling clothing. We talked many times via video when she was working, so I know that was true. She also would put other people in the market on video call all the time. Some very nice Thai people, men and women. I ended up meeting most of them when I came to Thailand and really liked them all. Good, down-to-earth people. Now, I admit to falling for this woman. She was kind of a Thai hippie type. She only wore used clothing, did her own hair, never had any surgery, and had a natural beauty that really intrigued me. Obviously, I got the Thai bug and sold 20 years of accumulated junk, broke my rental contract for a great house in the mountains near Rio de Janeiro. Then I bought a ticket to Bangkok and suffered the 27 hours of travel time. And then my new friend Gung met me at the airport in Bangkok with her daughter. I was way beyond tired and jet lagged, but managed a meal in an airport restaurant with her and her daughter. Everything seemed okay. Her daughter was very nice and obviously just a working girl. Haha, no, not that kind of working girl. Now, my new friend was living in a knockdown when I first started talking to her. It had a dirt floor and she slept in a little camping tent on a wood platform. I also know this to be true because I went there with her after I arrived in Pattaya and was given a tour of the neighbourhood and the house. Now, while I was still in Brazil, I sent her money to rent a cheap room for us, 3,500 baht a month, in the dark side, close to her work. I also sent her some cash to buy a fridge, a small TV and some miscellaneous items for the room. She wanted to do some gardening, so I gave her some cash to rent a very small plot of land, all verified. I told her I would help her with the land work and that she could quit working in the market. I was so stupid to make promises before I really checked things out. But there you go, stupid me. So I was really in a fog those first few days. An old man who was very jet lagged. I don't remember the bus ride from Bangkok at all, other than my friend not knowing the bus didn't stop at the North Terminal where she had left her scooter. I ended up waiting on the side of the road while she arranged for another friend to pick me up and deliver me to our room, and she picked up her scooter. Now, my friend Gung was very cool. I was over the top attracted to her, but I wouldn't call her a beauty queen. But for an old man, my libido was working just fine.
Hey, I won't be long. I'll skip the foreplay.
Now, I definitely wouldn't call myself a Casanova, but I have had sufficient life experience to know a bit about women and what they know and what they don't know.
Good luck.
I can tell you, Gung knew. She knew well. I also knew from our talks that she had quite a bit a Falang experience, and that she had done quite a few things besides selling clothing in her years living in Pattaya. She beat around the bush a little regarding some of her jobs. She did tell me that she had worked a little in bars, but not as a takeout. She also told me that she had once had a massage shop. She never said anything about what type of endings she offered. But I can tell you, she definitely didn't have any professional massage training. Now, I know by now you are inserting the Run Forest Run clip, and I was definitely getting that vibe too. And I did run right after she asked me for a Bart bracelet and a salary on the third day that I was there. I ended up in a hotel and looked at a few condos to rent, but damn, I was frigging hooked on this woman and felt so guilty about the promises that I had made to her that I ended up going back. Now, right then, had I really been paying attention, things began to change. On one hand, I can look back and understand her pulling back emotionally because I ran away. But on the other hand, I began paying more attention to the red flags. She would not friend me on Facebook saying that her ex would get mad and he was a violent man. Her ex seemed to play a big part in her life, even though she had told me many horror stories of the things he had done during their marriage. She also had a Falang friend who was from Denmark who occasionally sent her money. Yeah, I know. At the same time this was happening, she was introducing me to all her friends who were all very normal working poor Thai people. None of the typical scammer items seemed to apply to her. As I previously said, she hadn't had any surgery, no tattoos, normal friends, only wore used clothing and worked every day. Now she just seemed like an older Thai woman who had been around enough Pattaya culture to be tainted, but basically honest. She never asked me for anything like gold again after that one time, and she accepted my limiting her salary to 8,000 baht per month. However, she did count every penny we spent and made sure that I paid for it all. It wasn't much, so I never really complained. And then the play changed too. She stopped completely. She would let me mess around, but she wouldn't even touch me. We have been arguing more and my trust level went down and down. One day, after an especially bad disagreement, I ended up going out and renting a condo in North Pattaya. I can't even remember what we even argued about. And then the guilt hit again, and I told her to move back in. Unfortunately, with doing this, nothing had changed between us. She ended up being angry all the time and was defensive. I felt bad about telling her she could quit her work and changed my mind several times. I hated the land and didn't want to have anything to do with it. In regards to play, it was nearly non-existent. Even so, I could understand her feelings. I had made promises and broken them. Even so, she wasn't anything like the caring Thai woman I had heard so much about, even if it was fake. I became more and more vigilant and found a reason to ask her to leave the condo. She rented another room in Nong Pru and moved all her things there. After a few days of cooling down, I found my guilt coming back again, and I contacted her. She then said that she had found a house. It was a previous house that we had spoken about before. She told me that it was for rent and it was also in Nong Pru for 8,000 per month. I went to see it, and I really liked it. Now it was close to her work and far from the Pattaya Phalang scene that I hated. So I agreed to rent it, sacrificed my 30,000 baht deposit on the condo, paid another 20,000 baht deposit on the house, and bought 40,000 baht worth of items for the house. Can you guess what happened next? Unfortunately, the relationship did not improve, and fooling around, was one-sided but continued for the first few weeks. She was working every day and helped take care of the house, but always seemed angry. She was the opposite of affectionate and began sleeping on the couch. She then said she was sleeping there because she had trouble sleeping and didn't want to disturb me. Yes, the relationship was definitely going to hell. I had started going to help her set up and break down her shop every day. It was less than 10 minutes to walk to the market from our house, so I enjoyed doing it. It also got me out of the house and got me to mingle a little bit with the other Thai people. And I found out that 2 of Gung's friends have shops next to hers. Meanwhile, back at home, things were deteriorating even further. She didn't even bother starting to sleep in the bed anymore, and I agreed to move to the couch into the other bedroom. There are so many details that I am leaving out, some good times and some bad times, but I think that you get by now that we were coming to an end of anything that could be called a good relationship. Now, I did try explaining to her that I still liked her, but it was more like she was my sister or something like that. I had completely lost my feelings of passion and wanted her out of my life. However, I still felt dependent on her since she was my only point of contact in Thailand. So, like a fool, I had moved to the other side of the world, not for an adventure, but for a relationship.
Yeah, boy.
I know, it's absolutely crazy. Now, we are still in the same house. She comes into my area only to use the refrigerator. She still goes to work every day, and I sit watching TV. I think about going back to Brazil, but it does not really sound that good to me. My cost of living here is very low, and even on my limited budget, it's quite affordable. It works out at around the same that I had back in Brazil. I am not a drinker and really don't like the idea of pay for play, so I find myself alienated and all alone. I am ambivalent about Gung. On one hand, I just want her to leave. On the other hand, she is my only friend. I think that she is planning on leaving in a month, and then I have no clue as to what I will do. I still don't know if she was scamming me or if I just created the mess by being so vigilant and judgmental about some of the things that she did. I guess I could make a silly quote from Charles Dickens or give you some appropriate music for the situation. And before I go, I could express my sentiments better with expletives that you cannot use. I admit that I was warned, and look what I did. 74 years old, travelling halfway around the world for an adventure, and unfortunately you did what most men do, so don't beat yourself up about it first of all. And I understand that you feel alone here on the other side of the world, and my advice to you would be to go out and just make some friends. Start to mix with the local expats and start to learn about the place that you've moved to, because even though you feel like you understand women extremely well, when you come to Thailand, it's a whole new learning experience. Now, you've heard the story So what do you think? Please comment down below any kind of advice, what you think he should do right now, because he's currently still in this situation. Now, this gentleman is a lot older than me and a Vietnam War veteran. Now, I know that we have a wide audience of much older people than myself that can hopefully help this guy. So please take the time out to comment. Now, in this story, what touched me was the fact that he flew halfway around the world for an epic adventure and to enjoy his retirement. He chose Pattaya of all places. For me, it's not the best idea, especially if you're 74 years old. However, this is the place that he knew and he chose. And unfortunately, he's mixing around with the wrong type of women in Pattaya that will prey on his naivety and his kindness. Now, this subscriber is the exact type of person that I want to help by sharing these stories. At the end of the day, we all don't know it all. There's a lot of different types of people that have different levels of experience, and a lot, obviously, from the stories that we read, have little to no experience or think they know it all, but no, nothing. And for most people, it's a learning curve. You get through it, you learn from it, and then you apply what you've learned, and hopefully you have a better stay here in Thailand. But for older gentlemen like this, these are the guys that I worry about, where it can have a serious knock-on effect. At the moment, he's in a horrible situation and he's looking at going back to Brazil. You didn't come halfway around the world for this experience, so now you need to dust yourself off and you need to change that experience and make it an adventure, what you come here for. Live it, enjoy it. Enjoy your retirement. You earned it. You was in the Vietnam War. You've done your bit. Now it's time to kick back and relax, but apply what you've learned and get out of this situation. That is what I would say. But I'm not 74 years old. So I would like other people to try and help this subscriber. Now, guys, if you've got your own real factual Thailand story and you want to share it on the channel, then as always, get your email sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. We live and we learn. Guys, take it easy, stay safe out there, and ciao for now. Bye-bye.